and the basic approach to multiplier. Actually, the assumptions we are making here, one is household kind of consumption, and we had one function. We discussed various theories of consumption, and we finally said Keynesian theory still wins over the other. So that and then second and third part, which we did not spend too much time, let's just what we do, we had only consumption functions so far. We had investment given, government expenditure given, exports are given, imports are given. That was a simplified model. We just only assume consumption is a function of income, rest of the things are in a way given. Now how do we justify that these things are given? Obviously there is obviously some kind of a functional form for them can also be possible, which we will do later on. But if you look at the investment, government expenditure, export of different countries, let's kind of start with some examples. Let's start with the investment to GDP ratio. What is investment to GDP ratio for different countries? Investment to GDP ratio for different countries. Like this component is there, I. We have discussed this part. Now we are going to discuss the other components. Investment, and if I divide by Y throughout, this becomes like what is the percentage of GDP which is consumed, what is the percentage of GDP which is invested, what is the percentage of GDP which is government takes control of, and what is the export as a percentage of GDP, and what is the import as a percentage of GDP. So you can actually have a more detailed discussion on each component. So far what we assume, this is a function, but all these are given. There is no kind of a what is called it is a simplified model, assuming all of them are given. Another way to say the same thing will be that all these are in a way policy variables, which you can change. That's another way to say the same thing. People's behavior is not changed, in the sense at least not in the short run. They consume because they need to consume. But how can you invest? Kind of more? Can we say that investment is a function of any variable? What do you think investment depends on? Income. Income. Okay. Let's look at the income. Let's debate about income. So let's say investment to GDP. Are we saying this is a function of income? Which means from this, if we say this is true, what must we do? The low income countries will have a less investment. High income countries must have a high investment. Does that follow? Let's look at different countries. Let's look at the US, Europe, Japan, India, and say China. Let's look at this ratio for different countries. What do you think is this ratio? I think we've discussed this already, but let me just.
No, we've not discussed.
We will discuss not in this kind of together, but discuss separately.
Can you discuss?
I'm not written anything. I just written investment to GDP ratio is before. I have just written 500 days. I'm not really given any numbers at all. I think I'm just asking numbers from you. What is your impression about the investment to GDP ratio for different countries?
What is investment to
GDP? Investment. So say India. What is the investment in India compared to relative to our GDP?
It will be the highest in India. No. Ratio will be highest, but China. Absolute value must be there. But in fact, India would be one of the minimum
In India?
Yes. So what is 10%,
20%, any guess?
20%,
35%.
So any developed country
35%. India is about 33 to 35%. Right now it's 33. Couple of years back it was 35%. In the last slowdown, it has reduced. So it was 33%. 33, 34.
Earlier it was more.
It was not 30, 40%, but 36, 35% it has.
Part of it is being invested from the outside.
No, here basically investment in the economy. Gross domestic capital formation to discuss, which is a component here.
Within the country.
All investment coming from any source. It could be from domestic source, it could be from international. FDI also will be part of this. In India, how much is total investment? So the Coca-Cola comes into India, invest. That will be part of investment.
It is contributed to the own.
Contributed to? GDP. Yeah, overall GDP. So GDP has 5 components. Consumption is one component we have discussed in the last class. Now we are discussing the other component. The investment is second component. It also adds to GDP because if you buy more machines, the GDP is gone up. People who are working in the investment industries which produce machines and all.
So does this investment also constitute of the investment with government agency?
That is the Delhi.
I don't know. Include the.
I mean, that it can be possible. See, if you convert government expenditure is two types. One is consumption, the other is investment. So both are, sometimes people say that investment is private plus government, or they say government consumption actually has two components, one is consumption, one is investment. So in this, what we are discussing, we are saying investment is only private sector investment, government investment is part.
The investment also includes the FIIs or only the Indian companies?
All investment.
All FII investment also?
All FII, FDI is all part of it. All three. So this is your investment, and
Japan was very reduced.
Japan is about 22%.
Similarly,
US is about 17%.
China very marginally higher than India.
Yes, what is the EU average?
EU was almost the same as
Almost as US 18%.
almost the same as
Now only China remains.
China remains slightly more than 40 odd. China must be investing more than India, but the GDP is high. So that
I have already replied the GDP.
So from vehicle export sticker, something from market.
पंजाब में बताएंगे
It is got a considered as an export sticker. Thank you.
which color
Okay, what is in China? Any guesses?
48 38
It is 45%. China is the highest.
That is because they must be investing much more than the GDP. They are very high.
FBI must be
FDI is actually high. The overall, now let me give you the other side. Savings GDP. Savings GDP in India is about 31-32%, and China is actually 50%. That's why China is surplus. That's why China is now investing abroad, because it has so much resources that it's not its own investment requirement less than that.
that means almost 1/3 of our GDP is from investment that is in our own country.
Yes, that's it. But what I'm trying to say is this function is hard. There's a relationship doesn't seem to have it. High income countries have low investment. Low income countries have high investment. I can give you low investment Africa, for instance, living of South Africa. This will be about 10 to 12%. So the relationship is not straightforward with income. But we would have thought low income countries invest less, high income countries will invest more. But actually, no pattern. Low investment countries are investing less, high income countries are also investing less. It's like somewhere in between fast growing countries like India, China, Southeast Asia, they are investing a lot.
So the reason for that, what I know,
There is only one kind of government.
the reason what I can tell for this is basically these European countries and America, their overall amount of money that they have is so high that even when they put in 15%, it comes to a good figure.
Yeah, that is the way. So actually, that's why we normalize. Effectively, high income countries probably need not have so much investment as a percentage of GDP. So effectively, the countries that are growing very fast, like India, China, and say Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, they have this ratio 30% plus. And now you see, when fast growth actually is a result of more investment. These countries are growing slowly. These countries are also growing slowly.
That is why Africa doesn't have money.
But they don't have invest.
They don't have that kind of.
And that's why they're not able to grow fast.
That's why they don't.
So that's effectively, if anything you want to plot a graph, say I buy here and buy here, it becomes like this. Low income countries, low investment. Middle income, very high. Then again, as you become high income, again. Investment will increase.
That's
How much investment is there here? And it's the proposal changes.
That's the thing. That was when we put the GDP on the denominator side. But if we see a overall graph, the European countries will always have it on the higher side and the middle countries.
This is absolute value.
we have in absolute value, they will have it on the higher side, we will have it in the middle side, and the applicable liquidity will again come to the, in the graph will be absolute.
Yeah, that is absolute, but absolute is has to be normalized. Absolute obviously, if you take a bigger country, it will be more, if a small country, it will be small. Like China versus India versus Sri Lanka.
Even if we divide it by population, I guess it will be like that.
But again, the same thing will happen if you divide by population.
Similar than that.
Yeah, that's right. That's why what I'm trying to drive at, we can assume investment to be autonomous. But the other variable, what are the other variables which is affecting that?
The government economy of the country.
So you can say that's the cost side. That's where. But the thing is, what is the kind of when you are investing in the most important thing?
Think of future.
The policies keep changing, but investment in India is relatively robust from last 10 to 20 years.
Security. A major issue is security.
Once you take care of that part, is what matters.
Security in terms of the investment will grow.
That's true. But the thing is, in last 10 years in India, what has happened? Security has not changed very much. Investment is still 30% plus. In China, from last 20 years, investment is more than 45% only.
Primarily, the insecurity.
That's partly the reason.
Culture, the psyche of the people.
So, forgetting the most important macro variable. I think you're getting your HR and other input.
Population.
You're forgetting rate of interest.
Oh yes.
How can you forget rate of interest? I mean, when you're borrowing, you have to have the borrowing cost. If the interest rate goes up, then what happens? Your investment projects are not viable. If you have to pay a lot of money, suppose I raise the interest rate from 10% to 50%, what will happen? You will not be able to invest. If I reduce the interest rate, again, it will be more profitable. A lot of projects will be worthwhile to invest. The most important variable, in my opinion, I mean, you think about other variables which are very difficult to quantify what you're thinking about, culture, environment. How do you quantify all this? Interest rate actually encompasses all the information. If interest rate is relatively reasonable, then you think they are good prospects. And why is government always targeting interest rate? They are sending a message across. That's why you cannot forget investment. But again, we have not come to interest rate so far. So we'll presume for the simple answer, whatever we've done earlier, that investment actually is relatively autonomous, does not depend on interest. What about government expenditure? Government expenditure again, now let's look at government expenditure. Yes. Government is about this. Let's now operate India for 22%. India is what about other countries? China is about 25%. China is a good country. Let me underline that also. India is not a good country. Yes. What about the US?
China percent so much of infrastructure development is also their own money. Why does it take so less?
That is the government spending.
They basically rely on PPP model. If you don't put it directly their own money.
People corporation.
Just like you have this Delhi Gurgaon Expressway, private company is given the government 30 years leave. So I don't have to spend any money. Hopefully private sector will come out and if it's profitable, even start more. You go to Beijing, entire most of the road in Beijing are priced to pay any road you use. And the huge amount of investment you use. Airports, airlines also they are now gradually, one of the Chinese airlines is now sold to Dragon Air, which was usually that you bought over and catch a lift. Some of the airports, not all, some of the airports. I mean, it's not strictly privatizing, it's really government, public-private partnership. That's what the PPP models which are coming up everywhere. And China is using the power plants are using that in that way. So a lot of these dams are coming up where government does not have to spend money directly. So that's why one way to economize on the issue.
And how about US? US will be playing a large large amount of spending on this.
US also mostly private use. So US, this number is about 35%. US is not a communist country. And EU, this number is about 50%. Japan is about 40%. Africa is again very low, 10 to 11%. So again, you don't see any link between the government expenditure and the GDP. What explains government expenditure? Very difficult to say. It's basically a policy variable, and especially societies take on how much welfare you want to provide. When you are high income country, normally government expenditure tends to go up. But again, in the middle level countries also you see, in India and China, it's relatively low, and very poor countries kind of very small. But again, within the high income countries are very diversity. US and Japan are on the lower side, Europe is on the higher side. So again, you don't see a pattern. This is actually societal choice. So this is like a discretionary variable. You can actually have more if you want to, and then in between there are all these communist countries earlier where the government expenditure was very high, but now most of them actually have gone into the capitalist state. What about export to GDP ratio? Again, let's look at the key countries. Any countries you may be aware of? Export to GDP. China is the highest. China is the biggest exporter in the world, but I am dividing by GDP. So that's why you need to be careful about China. What is the number for China? India may be the highest. What is the Chinese? India, any cases for any country?
Japan, sir.
India should be around 15-20%.
India is for 22%. As a percentage of GDP, 22%. So what about any other country? China?
Japan.
Around 40 to 40.
China is 40. Yes, China is about 40%. 35 to 40 in that range. Yes. Japan? Very high. What percentage? Anybody else for Japan? Yes, 50%. 50. Japan is 12%. The GDP is also very large. You forget it. Japan is third largest GDP in the world. Third or fourth maybe.
I think it fits the latest.
If you look at PPP, you get a good picture. But if you look at the pure actually exchange rate based number, China is second, US number 1, Japan number 2. India actually comes to number 10. If you look at just pure exchange rate differential and all. Okay, what about US? GDP was number 1. US is now the biggest importer, but not the biggest exporter. The biggest exporter is China. In terms of the, there are two things. One, you look at percentage of GDP, China is small. But you look at the world trade and then China's contribution, then China is the highest. And the US also is about 12%. Because big countries, this number will be very small. Because although they export a lot, but GDP is also very big. So what happens, big number divided by even bigger number is small. And possibly EU actually varies. It varies from say 50% and go up to 100% also. In some countries, like small countries, Belgium and all, it is close to 100%. And highest in the world is Singapore, it is 220%. 220% means GDP is about 1/3 of the export. So that sounds very illogical, isn't it? How can this is the equation, how can export be greater than GDP? Because you can't say another now. So obviously you can get, but you should actually check if you are looking at the realistic perspective, export by GDP. So Singapore is 220%, this is about 200%. So the net will be only 20% or 10%, whatever. So any country in the world, this number is very small. So you look at China also, exports are 40%, but import will be about 37%. So the net ratio, which is the export surplus, what I call it, as a percentage of GDP, will be very small. It will be 2 to 3%.
Actually, Singapore is a very small country.
Yeah.
What is it exporting? Tourism is part of export?
Yes, tourism is part of export, but tourism is a very small part of export. But definitely, See, I should give you Hong Kong also. Hong Kong is also 200 plus.
But we are taking the ratio of the GDP.
Yeah, that's the ratio of the GDP. So what happens? You actually export a lot.
Why Singapore figure will be high is because Singapore is a transit point.
Yes.
Lot of these countries
You already
are getting into
it's
Singapore.
actually not for itself. It is for Singapore and Hong Kong also is similar.
These are transit points.
Yes, one of the point is you use port. Basically get the product, maybe some processing is done there. Dubai actually is not a country. Dubai is a part of the UAE. That's why you will not be able to see the similar number. Although if you get Dubai alone, you get very high numbers there. Like in the EU, you get Belgium very high number. Switzerland, some of the countries have kind of a port point from where the good comes and then go to some other place. Yeah. You cannot have only export high because where you get like you cannot have Singapore has a very high export and no import. It doesn't have any production of itself. Like for instance, oil. Recently, they have started one of the biggest refineries in the world, but they don't have any oil, but they have refineries. Like in Reliance Jamnagar, as I say, they are refinery, but we don't have enough oil. So what does the Reliance or the Singapore does? It actually imports a lot of oil, processes it, adds some value, and then exports it. But again, that's what will show off as a very big kind of import and export. That's one way to understand the yes.
Just I think slightly that you said the high income countries as far as government expenditure is concerned behave differently from the high income. But government expenditure is one means of growth.
Yeah, but again there are two ideologies. You're discussing that all the time.
What do they do for that growth? For example, Japan and US.
The thing is, if you look at any of the three components, if you promote, impact is the same. You've done the multiplier last time. So if you increase this, or if you increase this, the impact is the same. So what does Japan does? Japan, this is relatively on the medium side. This export as a total export is pretty high, and they also have a very low interest rate policy, which means they encourage all three. India, we have a moderate of all three. We are not very export-oriented. Government expenditure also relatively with the medium side. Investment recently has gone up, but again, on the whole, it's kind of so that's why this is the last 10 years. India is going very fast. But this part is creating a problem because they're not getting enough taxes to kind of raise government expenditure. That's one problem. And also, many times government expenditure you saw here is constrained by the resources which will generate through taxation or some other ways. And countries where the government expenditure is high are the countries where tax collection also is very high. It's not that you will have a 50% of your government expenditure is GDP, but your tax revenue is zero. That's not sustainable. So then you have to borrow, and that will not be an easy thing to do. So that's why the government expenditure is very, very closely related to your taxing power and legitimacy of the government. In the sense, government is kind of respected, people willingly pay taxes. The government is kind of people believe like in India, why people pay taxes? Because we don't trust the government. And we say, okay, we will make people pay taxes. Government is going to blow it up, so why should I give this government? And what do I get in return? I don't get anything in return. People were paying in tax, kind of a part of tax net. What is the return they get? Nothing much. They get, but not kind of like in the European countries and all, you have this pension scheme, social security, education is free, health, all these things, and in an efficient way. In India also, for the same, government also has a lot of these hospitals, medical institutions, educational institutions, all the roads and all, but they are in such a bad state that we feel we are not getting what we deserve, despite paying taxes. And only many people respond by even completely avoiding taxes. And now, not to say the government also is responsible in the way of not actually enforcing the laws which are there even in the tax kind of a regime or whatever tax laws so far, they're not implementing them seriously. So that people also know they can evade the tax.
To that end, like US, Japan, the demand from the public for a government service is
Yes.
also more. So they actually need to spend more, but yet they don't. That is
The spending is pretty high, 35%, 40% is pretty high. I mean, it's not, compared to India, China is pretty high.
They don't save. They don't have bank accounts like us.
Yeah, I think one of the evidence of the government being important is that in these countries, the savings rate are pretty, private savings are low. In India and China, government spending is low, but private savings are pretty high. Because people, in a way, are at their own. So what do you do if you have to take care of yourself? we save a lot. The savings rate in India and China are, and all these East Asian countries are very, very high. Because there is no government which can ever take care of it. No, government also in China also, there is no social security. Despite communist country and all that. It's all just, paper. When it comes to implementation, it's as bad as India. Okay, so that gives you broadly the perspective what we were discussing. This is consumption we discussed, and this, all this 4 carries which I told you already. And this consumption pattern of different people. You see, as people go higher and higher, what happens? This is their consumption, spending, and this is their income. And you see, the MPC is actually declining. It's like a slightly falling. It's not a straight line. If it is a 45-degree line, it will be 1 to 1. Which means as your income goes up beyond, let's say, $100,000, the consumption actually, you can see here, is just about 75%, 75,000. And as you go lower, if you are below 20,000, you are spending much more than 20,000, I mean close to. Here your income is about 10,000, you are spending about 15,000. This is saving the concept. Required just to survive. Yeah, that is obviously there. We discussed that already. So this is the China, India, ASEAN, USA. These are already discussed investment expenditure, government expenditure, and export. So in a way, what I'm using is government expenditure is in a way discretionary element. And that, when you are especially in a crisis like recession and all, you can use it to pump the economy and spend more money and make the growth happen. So let me just, this is the example we have discussed already. This is the same thing in a graphical form, but we discussed in mathematical form. This is your expenditure part, this is your income, and this is a 45-degree line. 45-degree line means whenever you have a 45-degree line, it will be both sides will be equal. So this is your C plus I, C plus I plus G, C plus G, I plus G plus X minus N. So wherever this is meeting, this is your equilibrium part.
Not understood, not graphically.
We discussed that y is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus N. This is the same thing graphically. So the first equation is consumption. Consumption function was what? Your CA.
What is there on the
This is your income, total income, and this is total expenditure. Income is always total expenditure, that we've done in the video. So the same thing now we're doing in equation form. This is your consumption function. This is your autonomous consumption, and the slope of this is your micropropensity consumption. We discussed this in our class. Same thing under the page. Yes. And then you're putting one by one. This is your consumption function. This is your 45-degree line. Between any point on this line, the two are equal.
And what are the y-axis?
Expenditure and income. Your component of expenditure, consumption, investment, government expenditure, export minus.
Consumption is something value is equal to 0. So the minimum amount
Yes.
consumed.
That is this much.
What is next?
Yes. The income is 0, but your consumption is positive.
Only when the line crosses the 45-degree line is able to sustain itself.
Yes. So now this is 45-degree line, and then you add investment C plus I, the C plus I plus G, and then C plus I plus G plus X minus N. As we are assuming X minus N is negative, so that's why this red line is below the purple line. And that's where your both are equal.
The negative can export some more. They export some more.
Yes. And this is your multiplier effect, 1 over 1 minus MPC. So if you increase, say, investment or government expenditure or export, then immediately your GDP will go up from this yellow dot to the blue dot. Is it clear? This is the same graphical representation of what we did mathematically. in the last class. And this is the worked out example. So if you spend $100 in first period, then what happens? The spending go up by 100. In the next period, 100 will become as income for the people, of which 80% will be spent, 20 will be saved, cumulative expenditure will be 180. Third period, again this 80 will go as income, 64 will be spent, 16 will be saved, and so on and so forth. And finally, you add up, total expenditure will go up by 500, savings will go up by 100, and your multiplier will start fully functioning, which means your spent 100 rupees spent by the government actually raises the income by 500 rupees. That's the same thing multiplier we discussed last time.
So this is the increase in GDP because of the
government expenditure or any component.
very good for us. This needs to be addressed.
I think I'm just repeating what we did last time. Because I'm not doing anything, I'm just repeating. I'm making it more complicated for you by repeating. If you spend 100, then what happens? Whatever government spends becomes income. So income goes up by 100 in the first period. Now then people get extra income of 100. What do they do with that income? They spend 80% of that. So the MPC is 0.8.
We are spending 100, sir.
Government is spending 100. You get an income of 100. Of 100 you are spending 80. And say 20 you are saving.
180, 100 plus 80 only.
Yes. So 180 cumulative. This is cumulative. 100 is first period, 80 is second period. So this is 100. This plus this is here. This plus this plus this is here. This plus this plus this plus this is here.
So government spending is going down.
After this second,
It's not government spend only one.
After that, individual spend.
After that, your income is generating the money benefit.
so now the 80 has been earned and 180 has been spent.
Yes.
Now how we come to the figure of 64 the third time?
Extra income is 80.
Yes, sir.
80 you got. Now 80% of 80 is
Spending is 80%.
64 of that.
64. And then 80% of 64. Then 60% of 80% of 51, and so on and so forth.
So government spends only once $100 and we get to spend $500.
You get the income of $500, or you get to spend $500. Savings in the last year becomes 0, but cumulative saving is 100. Whatever government has spent, that has become saving of people. If you change it to some other number, say 0.75, the numbers will be different. Then, if it is 0.75, then here it will be not 80. How much will it be?
75.
It will be 75. Then 75% of 75. And then so on and so forth. That it crucially depends on this number. If this is 0.9, then what will happen? Then it will be 100, 90, then 90% of 90 will be 81, and so on and so forth. So then this will be 1000, and this will be again 100.
So the percentage consumption is high, is growing effect on the GDP.
Yeah, because as people spend more and more part of their income, the demand in the economy is growing. As the demand grows, obviously the supply grows, and then everything happens.
For spending more, you have to have more disposable income.
Yes, so that basically means that in a way you can draw policy conclusions that if the government spends money as income or whatever the expenditure towards the poor people, the multiplier effect is bigger. If it gives more income to the richer people, then what happens? Multiplier effect is small.
Because the consumption
Like the consumption is less, so obviously the multiplier value will not. Suppose this is 0.5, then what happens? 100, 50, 25, and then it starts reducing.
what is the round number of the
Round one is when you government spend today, next period. We don't have any specific that depends on country to country. We just have to call it in the general word round. Any questions? So any increase in export or government expenditure or investment or down consumption to Narega etc. will have the same impact. The multiplier effect will be same. Whatever you say, it will raise. Government expenditure is only one of the ways. Export also will have a similar effect. Investment will also have a similar effect. And to have a income transfer to the lower end, the impact also will be similar. Is it clear? All the four components, I plus G plus X and CA, all the components have the same impact. So this is the country we have discussed. Which countries have followed this policy? Japan has followed basically export promotion and investment promotion policy. East Asian countries, Thailand, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, etc. Export promotion policy. China has followed everything. Export promotion, government expenditure, investment promotion, everything. And European countries, this is government expenditure policy. They spend a lot on the government part. And this is how the multiplier works. Income rise in the first period, sales rise, that increases production, as production increases, employment rises, as employment rises, again income rises. This becomes a virtuous cycle. Yeah, opposite goes down. Like if your FPCs say 1, then what happens? So FPC is 1. There's no saving. You consume everything. You are such a poor country. Whatever income is generated, everything is spent. What happens to multiplier? It answers your question. So what happens to that country? If you have a, I mean, this is a theoretical example. Obviously, no country will have equal to 1. What happens? 1 over 1 minus FPC will be how much? FPC is equal to 1.
0. Infinity, sir.
1 over 1 minus 1.
Infinity, sir.
Infinite.
Infinite.
So you can say that if you consume everything, don't save anything, then the multiplier is 10. If you give it to a person who is really kind of in a very, very bad state, what happens if you give the income? It consume immediately. The moment it consumes, whatever demand immediately goes up. But the thing is, what he buys, that person from whom he is buying, that person may not have x is equal to 1. Suppose you are buying, say, food from a farmer. That person may have, instead of 1, 3.95, and so on and so forth. This is an example we already discussed about the bridge. And this is the multiplier I was talking about IT industry. IT industry multiplier is 2. Which is roughly what I was talking about LPG equal to 0.5. That's why, and we are promoting IT industry. You should not be surprised that our growth is with the IT industry may not be sustainable.
Still, they don't be sustainable.
Because IT industry professionals are very import intensive. They want to buy products which are not produced in India. What happens? They will promote other countries rather than your own country. Their impact will be not as strong.
So, but what about software exports?
Yes, software export will have an impact, but again, it's multiplier will be 2. So the thing is, whatever income you are getting, that income when you give it to software professionals, what happens? They spend on products which are not produced in the country.
Okay.
So your import
Understood.
also goes up significantly. They'll buy iPad, they'll buy iPhone, they'll buy computers which are not made in India. So what happens? There is no positive impact on Indian industry.
I think it is actually 100% produced in India.
No, 100% is different, but it is iPad is 100% not produced in India.
No, even for all Chinese imports, even they are also not producing in India.
All Samsung mobiles.
Maximum of the electronics is not produced.
No, I am confused. What I am saying is, if you give income to a person who basically consumes imported products, that person is as good as a foreigner. But if I give it to income to you, if you buy say a car, which is say Tata car, then Tata company benefits, then the multiplier impact stays within the country. But if you buy products which are not produced in the country, the multiplier is actually leaking to the other country.
Extra money.
No, you can see how much the import intensity of the individual. That will tell you what is the positive impact of the
But if you don't buy products from the other country, then their investment in our country will go down.
Investment will go down. Why will investment go down? Just because we don't buy from them, the investment from our country will go down.
They will not invest in our country.
Export and investment are two different things.
But are they connected?
How?
No, what
They are not connected.
What can I say?
You are buying oil from the Gulf countries. Do they invest in your country?
No. Remember, like Hyundai car or cars are manufactured in India, the product for manufactured products. You don't buy those cars. And obviously, there is the investment go out because there's
No, but the thing is,
GDP, factories in India.
what I am saying is, suppose you buy iPad. versus say Hyundai say Santro. What is the differential impact? When you buy an iPad, there is no positive impact in India because iPad is produced in China or in the US. But when you buy a say Hyundai Santro, it produces within the country, so you are employing somebody to produce that car. The two are different. But again, if you suppose you give it to a farmer and say poor peasant who's landless or whatever, if you give them $100 going to buy, he'll buy only food or whatever the minimum, and whereas the demand stays completely in India. The multiplier impact on that is much stronger.
The interesting IT industry companies, they all affluent people, high income people are working.
Well, I don't know, that has to be studied, but the IT professions particularly are more globalized compared to the other industries. Alright, all affluent people are more globalized relatively compared to the population. But within the affluent people, IT industry is even more cosmopolitan or say internationally linked. So they buy all these your LCD projectors, LCD monitors, TVs, LEDs and all. They are not made in India. You just go and look at the back of them. They are only just importing from Thailand, China or not. You're just selling it here. There are again different ideas about that, but that's a very long order. Like recently we've done this digital age. I was meeting one of the industry friends who's into this electronics industry. This is one of the major failures of the government. Like you have the digitalizing going on. Digitalizing means what? You need all these set-top boxes. And what are you doing basically? Companies like whatever, HTV and all, they are not looking at, now this regulation comes from 1st May.
Yes.
And how much new these set-top boxes will be sold? Roughly about 2 crores in matter of 1 or 2 years. And you could have promoted an Indian industry which could make it. There is nothing technologically advanced about this set-top box.
The problem lies that India, we do not produce quality items. Even in low price value, we don't produce quality items.
No, I don't. I think I completely disagree with you.
No, sir.
I think that's completely. This is what the impression goes around. Completely untrue.
I can substantiate what I'm saying.
I can also stand it exactly the opposite.
Just give an example. Just give an example of the only problem is that probably the highest quality, which is the highest value, is not told so openly in Indian market. That is the reason we get this feeling. The same stuff like Vimal suiting. We keep saying now Vimal hardly anything. You go to Japan, you will find every third shop is selling Vimal suiting because it's a very A-grade quality suit cloth which is being sold.
I think the good ones we just export, and the Indian market cannot afford. That's why we have this impression. Like we have the impression Chinese make all the bad products. You are going to be shocked when you go outside to Europe and US. You see all the good products are made in China, and it's made from India also. But again, you don't get it because you don't want to pay the price they are willing to pay.
No, but for the same quality, the Chinese product is much superior. For the same price, the Chinese product is less than that.
So that is the thing is now you want to develop an industry, and this is something which is a very big opportunity for you. This is not technology advanced. You would have developed a policy that all the companies like which are the companies are there in the cable TV industry, they have to buy all the Indian this set of boxes.
The cost will be 3 times.
No, it will be 25% more.
So let me just see, there was a cycle, quite a this guidance was taken cycle by and initially the cycle was not needed.
Yeah.
There is no time that Indian manufacturer, the foreign hand manufacturer, produce very good quality white color cycle and at a very
reasonable
price and yet profited out.
Yeah.
And managed.
Yeah, I'll tell you my personal example of this. My son, I bought 3 years back. A cycle is very attractive looking, and I didn't know it's Chinese made, and actually I found it Chinese made later on, because within a month it kind of formed up and I was not able to get it repaired. The guy says, and I dumped it on the top, he said, you keep it, I don't want to keep it. And then obviously I came back to Indian products, and they were much better quality. So at the same price, Chinese products were selling much lower quality, Indian were much better quality.
Even motorbike you buy,
The thing is, they tried a lot, but somehow, and then now the exchange rate moving against China. It's becoming very expensive for China to now cope up with the thing.
But sir, I didn't come to one of the just a policy also to be sure that the manufacturing of vehicles used to be done, or is it
No, you could have had a regulation that when you have digitalization, you knew digitalization coming in first May 2012, you could have done it advanced planning for 1 year or 2 years. I think there's not much technology involved. You could have actually created at least 20,000 more employment for producing 2 crore set-top boxes.
Sir, your actually very good. Now this mobile ICT and all computer everything was it just a lack of policy notes to be made? Is that too regarded as a question? Or is it because of certain WTO impact?
No, there's no WTO impact. Basically, our leadership has no vision of that sort. Basically,
I doubt if that is
because in the electronic industry, I know a couple of people in the electronic industry. In India, we are spending so much of the software, we have completely forgotten the hardware.
We are
We
we move our brains very fast, but we don't want to move our body.
No, that's not true actually. But then our politicians believe that. Our politicians believe that we should not get into hardware.
So we are very comparatively, if you see the kind of lifestyle people are living in say China or America or Europe, they have a very hard cycle of life in terms of activities in a day. Whereas most of us are into a lot of thinking and less of activity, physical activity. So
That's true, but there are a lot of people who are like, if you look at Indian manufacturing now, there are plenty of people who are involved, who are doing all hard labor every day. And your entire villages and all, they're doing all hard labor. They may be very creative people at the same time, but when you don't have a choice, you do all that what is required.
but across the board, that there it is
Across the board, I think
there it is only a
we're
possibility.
talking about 2 or 3% people. I think our sample size is so biased that we are just looking at each other and then saying this is the word.
But a set-top box is also made by Tata Sky.
No, that's not made by Tata Sky. Tata Sky is actually selling, like you can go back and check, it's made in either Thailand or Malaysia. Everything is like outside. And it's a very low technology product. You could have easily made it in India without any problem. Now since you are coming out with the policy of digitalization, it would have been very easy for you to push extra demand and kind of even if you had to subsidize a bit, you would have created a new industry here, which would have given run to Chinese and the others, which come exchanges when you get them after when Chinese exchange already appreciated by 25% in last 2
So
years.
these decisions are more to do with politics than to do with economics. That's why we did
No, economics is there, but the thing is politicians are not aware of this kind of you can't create 20,000 employment. I mean everybody would have been happy. And we would have kept the multiplier in India. Now you are saying that the Chinese or these Thai people who will manufacture these set-top boxes, their industry will benefit.
the politician is the one who is going to import and sell it in India. Is in league with the politician.
Basically, short term, that's why I say politicians are not visionaries. They are looking at individual gains, not the society gains.
Sir, but we are the best of the economists in the planning commission. So,
Well, economists being best doesn't mean actually they don't have personal interest. I mean, the individual interest sometimes dominates over what is the nation's interest. And the moment we do that, then the results are up for seeing everywhere.
But I mean, all cannot be put into that category. For few, yes, they would get to. But the government doesn't have work to economists. They would be having a panel of them, and the whole panel cannot be, kind of being forced to follow one line of thought. They would already have their own.
Basically, our government and all these governments across the world are kind of a very under heavy influence of World Bank and IMF. And they will tell us free market. Free market means don't interfere. Which means basically by default Chinese will come and invest in India or Chinese will come and sell the product in India. So Indians will not develop that capacity yourself. How will China develop this capacity?
But then that implies that we are dependent on IMF. Let's accept
We are not dependent, but the thing is we believe we are dependent. That's the problem. Like China also has kind of evolved from nowhere to this place where it is in the last 30 years. But they had a proper vision and did according to their plan. We are not, we have a plan, but we never execute those plans. What these vested interests and all, that vested interest tends to dominate. And they are basically international capital or Indian kind of affluent strata of society who don't want, so they are individual gain oriented rather than social welfare oriented.
Is it also possible that possibly we, doing this armchair kind of economics, may not be aware of the actual picture what those people are kind of aware of?
No, I talked about yesterday only I met somebody from industry and this point about the set-top box I didn't know, but I got to know yesterday only in the seminar where this guy who is actually is one of the very few surviving hardware exporter from India and he is the best in the field. Philips buys from him, Sony buys from him, but he doesn't get any government support. and he is comparing the Chinese government support and what he gets as support. His cost is 30% more than the Chinese, and somehow he is not able to survive. And he says, I want to set up a new plant in India, and the moment I go to, he's located in Noida, he wanted to double the capacity because the Indian market is growing very fast. Again, land, you know, there is a big issue about the land. The government official told him that you have to give 500 crores for the land. I mean, my project cost 500 crores, and that guy said, this project requires 500 crores for the official and 500 crores unofficial. Then he said, now what has he done? What is he doing? If you are a kind of a, it's unviable project to do it in India. So he has bought a company in China, where now he shifted part of the production to China. And from there he is exporting to India. Not just Indian government, foreigners are exporting to India, Indian companies are going abroad and then setting up plants and then exporting to India. Because it's cheaper to do that. That's what I say, that you say that Indian government cannot be all kind of a, there will be aberration. They cannot be aberration, because it's a normal thing. Aberration are when these people succeed. That is the shocking part. And we have done a spell of this, particularly as a colonial country, we have been under British influence for a long period. We have not come out of the colonial mindset. That is a very big problem in India.
But there is another side.
This class is going on English. Why is it going in English? In how many countries do you think that English is the main medium instruction in such a long 60 years of independence? It can happen in a very colonial mindset country. India happens to Europe.
So that's the part. But the land question, government cannot give the land just like that. China.
But charging 500 crores for the land, it wants 1,000 crores for the 500 crores of bureaucrat.
So maybe that charging is, that what is they asking in black money may be the wrong part. But like China, we cannot say, okay, in a bubble you come into a situation where the cost price will come down to...
No. He's not. The thing is, he's forced to go to China because in India, he's not able to get the land where he can set up his factory.
So land is also an issue, no? So parallelly it is an issue.
No, land is an issue. The thing is, he's ready to pay what the usual price is. But you're asking him twice because you want to suck away his profitability completely. And then that guy obviously is not sustainable, so he's not going. He's not able to expand in India. This is basically kind of a huge amount of corruption which we have kind of and that in a way is anti-industry and anti-people ultimately. Why your industry, you saw that agriculture industry and agricultural sector, industry sector and service sector GDP. Why do you think industry in India is one of the lowest compared to the as a proportion of GDP? Because industry, if it is doing well, it is not because of government, it's despite government. Sorry to sound very kind of pessimistic, but this is the status. Your power is not available, roads and bad shape, government politics sitting on your head all the time, labor laws, all the things you tax, industrial pay, all the taxes. If you add all that thing, you get Indian industry, which is in a very, very bad shape. Service sector is kind of off these things. That's why service sector is flourishing. But service sector employs who? It employs elite. So entire policy making is basically, we have not come out of the caste system. Let's admit it very openly. We are basically a caste society and we remain a caste society. Everything is geared towards the top 10% of the upper order. Economics and all can tell you a lot of things, but you cannot solve these philosophical and the religiously kind of sentimental issues and all. Inequality will not be solved. We are not even trying to do that. Unless there is crisis, we don't go. Anybody, kind of, I am getting, say, 1 million rupees every month or whatever, be it Dhirubhai Ambani or whatever, they are not going to share, just even if they make money living.
Sir, as economics work towards that, how much population, if you use some kind of a population, how much the GDP growth will be there? Those kind of figures are available?
Well, you can do that. I mean, that's what China has been trying to do. But again, now it's only giving a negative impact on that. You start controlling population too much. What happens? Suppose you are death population today. What happens after 10, 20 years?
Japan is
Your population will start aging, but very fast. You do it abnormally, like China has done one-child policy. What is the difference that in China? China at the income level of 1/10 of the European countries have a same aging problem as Europeans have now. So China has preponed its aging problem 100 years earlier. If you take a two-sex couple who is married, and they have only one child, what happens? When the child grows up, he'll have two parents to take care of. He'll have two parents, not even four parents to take care of, because if they marry, like this is a typical problem I found in China. It's a design personal example.
Four parents means that she is married to a wife, so she two parents. Okay.
No, look at two parents, they have only one child. What happens when they marry these younger children? They'll have four set of parents to take care of. And this is what is happening in China. It is happening in Europe now after 100 years of the population, no control of population. So the population has aged very fast. Your age today, if you have everybody has suppose one child. After 20 years, what will happen? So population will go down. Your per capita GDP possibly will go up, but effectively your dependency ratio will also double.
Sir, that is understood, but vis-a-vis one father looking after four child and one father and mother set looking after four parents, which is the better option?
You are presuming that one mind is more creative than four minds.
One child and four fathers.
Population, this is an old fashioned thing that population control, if you do it, subsequently population is active. Now population people are taking an asset. And China is now feeling that
Is it going to be an asset subsequently also in the next 10 years?
it's a potential asset, but if you don't educate these minds and all, they can be very problematic. So you have education also. Education and those are the important. It has to be balanced. Extremist approach like China is counterproductive. So that's why population, 20 years back, you know, Sanjay Gandhi and all, they were fashionable people and all. But I think now we have turned around and we say, no, actually this is not a very serious issue we can handle. And that's the pressure I got, right to education, right to information. Why it's coming? Because people are putting pressure that you have to give us reasonable amount of education. So, and then why India is supposed to be looked up quite positively? Because these 1 billion minds will have 1 billion solutions to problems. But if you have a very small population, the creativity also is constrained. That's the positive way to look at it.
Larger the population does not always guarantee a more creative mind.
Extremely optimistic. Extremely optimistic.
Well, I'm optimistic in one way, so this is one way I'm optimistic.
But without education,
So it means, are we saying that we do not have enough money for education? Or is the government being very wasteful? If money is misused, the government is very wasteful. So we have to make sure the government is less wasteful. That will automatically ensure education for people. And once they are educated, they can take care of themselves.
At the bottom of it, only politicians, maybe every politics sector will take.
I will not stop those guys.
No, see, one way to solve this problem of political problem is that we actually make them less important, which is happening. One is that, which we are already doing it, we are doing privatization. Privatization is another way, cooperative movement is another way, this kind of having a lot of transparency in the laws and all, and then implementing that, your local policy is being debated, or RTI Act and all things are coming in. Those are the other things that are kind of equally important. And those things we need to kind of, we're trying, and obviously it's late, but it's never too late, so that's the way we can look at it. And we have to change this kind of a very unequal mindset we have, that for some people everything is there, for other people there's nothing is there. The 60% population was the lower part of the bottom of the population, maybe 70%. We kind of have not bothered for them enough. But again, it's changing. Now, look at Bihar today and what people were 10 years back. A lot of change has taken place, and that is people are responding to that position.
Today, sir, we are all a lot of Goa, ground reality.
No, it has changed.
I mean, if somebody is getting re-elected in a very positive way,
What are the reasons?
but obviously, I don't have direct evidence to show Bihar. I have indirect evidence. When people in Punjab are saying that labor is not available, I think that is a positive sign that Bihar something will happen.
सर ट्रैफिक पोस्ट पे ट्रैफिक पुलिस का होना ही बहुत बड़ी बात है. I mean traffic posts were there but there was no police.
And the law and order, I mean,
Automated, sir. Automated, no police.
yeah,
Advanced
they're improving the governance.
Already open the school.
But the IAS officer was found in some kind of corruption charges. His house was confiscated by the chief minister and school was made there. Bihar, this is again Bihar. 17 schools have been taken over like that. Now if you have 17 schools taken over like this, it has a lot of message sending across the government machinery and all. Another interesting case study I did. In the electricity recovery mechanism, we hired our silent observers and ex-army person. Second thing, to put a check on the lawlessness of the police at the lower level, as well as their training. Decisions again taken by the ex-armed forces. So this has been and another thing is can be done for the similarly, 1970 or 70 में Himachal Pradesh was very low in education, and they didn't have to teach. So that was complicated. So उसने हमारे आर्थिक दादी और national governor. So he had brought in a memorandum note under the state government, wherein all the 40 communication branches were directly recruited as class as low class teachers. LKG teachers, TGT teachers. So that brought the student education level, and they were really less salary because basic salary pension was there with them. So roti means, but only remuneration like diya. And suddenly we have 5-10 years. These are startling. I do not know the entire details of it, but there are a lot of these Himachal and especially another hill state which has recently been formed. The education levels have drastically gone up. Even in Uttarakhand in last 10 years, you see education levels have gone up because these hill people are somewhat different than the caste system and all is not so strong, and that's why they are able to jump up in the education ladder. Himachal has done a very remarkable story, and Uttarakhand is almost following the same story.
Himachal is basically everything because of the government. There, अगर एक पहाड़ पे 4 घर हैं तो वहाँ पे भी एक स्कूल है, वहाँ पे भी एक रोड जाएगी, वहाँ पे भी बिजली होगी. तो यहाँ in other states गांव तक बिजली नहीं है, but that's why it's insured. Every crop of apple is insured by the government. If something happens, अगर crop goes bad, the insurance is paid by the government to the.
So then, procurement में after became separate from PP, there are progress.
And government make a smaller state possibly a better idea than having this big state where all these things get overlooked. Anyway, getting back to some of the now lighter part, one interesting joke for the multiplier that might make you remember the multiplier. If I give you a raise, you will spend more money. If you spend more money, it will strengthen our economy. If the economy gets stronger, I'll have more people. If I have more people, one of them might turn out to be a idiot and go bankrupt my company. That's why I not give you a raise. This is kind of very lighter way.
Boss is always right.
So this is a simple Keynesian model which we discussed last time, and how we kind of when you plug this value here, you get 1 over 1 minus LCC, the multiplier. Which we already done last time. And this is an example of the big thing. You can actually put in the numbers and actually solve it. And that can give you your different what is the level of income, savings, consumption, and so on. Just put in the value and you get the answer. And now once you got the answer, can you guess what is the answer here? It's very simple calculation. You just plug in the value. What is GDP will be? Y is equal to C plus I plus G plus exponent. So Y is this plus I plus G plus X minus N. And then whatever the number comes, we multiply by LPC is say 0.8. So, yes, what is the answer? 200 plus 50, 250, 350, minus 10, 340 multiplied by 5. So 1000, 1200 plus 40 into 5. No, sorry, 1500. 1500 by 5. 100 by 5. 1760. 1700. 1700. Yeah. So MCC is 0.8. So multiply with 5. This is clear? So 1700 will be GDP. Now if you change the government from 100 to 200, how much GDP will go back? One is straightforward answer. Multiply 100 extra with the multiplier 500. Or you can solve it a long way. So 1700 plus 500 will be 2200. This is the way you can actually find the calculation. That's given here. G equals 200, what is the solution? And then you can see the actual multiplying factor in Argentina.